inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher, unlock the fire in you, cause real women don't bitch, no, real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Yay! Hey, ladies, I am super duper excited. I laugh, right? Because I say that all of the time and you guys are like, August, you're always excited. I can't help it. You know what's going down. It's Friday, and I have a special guest with me. And this is a new guest, you guys. You guys are used to some of the old people. You hear them, you see them, because I like to bring quality back. But this woman and I met on LinkedIn, and there's this level of a contagious amount of attraction between the two of us. And when I read her form, I thought that I connected with her and I liked her just from talking to her on the phone. But when I read her form, when she submitted for this podcast, there's just some people that get me a special kind of excited about having them on the show. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that today's guest is going to give you something to think about. She's going to inspire you. She's going to provoke some thought and make you question, what can I do more? How can I be a better version of myself? How can I rebound? And so, Jackie, it is a pleasure to have you here. This is the beginning of a new, fresh relationship that I can literally just spiritually see so much more coming from it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop talking and allow you to at least take a chance, get a moment to say hi to everybody and let them know who you are.
Hey, thanks so much, August. It's so awesome to be here and, back at you. I'm just so glad that we met and, the way we connected just so quickly. I just love it. Definitely twin sisters from different mothers for sure on a soul level. So thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. Just can't wait to get to know the people that are in your tribe, that are following you. And my goal, my commitment here is to really make a difference, to elevate people's experience of life and to elevate people's experience of their own personal power. That's really what I'm committed to, is the world needs more people living out loud, passionate, clear, and empowered lives, and women doing that. Women in politics, women in medicine, women in leadership, women in the C-suite. I'm just so passionate about it. So, hey, everybody, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. I was a therapist for 30 years. So I say, I don't know much about a lot of things, but I'm an expert in human beings.
And I love that, because I tell people all the time, if you want to master business, you need to master people. That's
right.
that's where the real money is. Truly understanding people, embodying the spirit of connection. That's the game changer. And something's happening, you know, for those of us that are hardcore online, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are these, you know, 6 steps to 6 figures in 6 days, and only emails and sales, and these scripts and these templates. And, you know, in the beginning, you know, if you were like me, you got sucked in. You know, how is it a brilliant woman like myself got sucked in? But that was just because the online arena seemed like this big old monster. And I kept hearing online business, offline business, but business is just business.
Business is just business. Exactly right. It's relationships.
Yeah. And so the same principles run through and through. So let's let the audience get to know you, though, because I can talk. God knows I can. We both figured that out after our phone conversation.
I love it. I love it because you're good at it. You know, you got to stick with what you're good at.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So you've been doing this, you said, for 30 years now. Has it always been from an entrepreneurial standpoint, or when did you transition into doing this full time?
I've been in my own business for 30 years. It's amazing to me that it's been that long. But yeah, but for the first 25 as a therapist and a mental health consultant, and also simultaneously for the last 20 years, I've been doing professional coaching. So therapist, you know, consultant, coach. And about 10 years ago, I closed my therapy business. And this is the first secret of how to be successful in business. Cut off your income stream, and then it's just going to, you know, kick you until you're successful. So I don't know. I don't recommend it. I was either courageous or stupid, somewhere in between. But yeah, I closed my therapy practice, which was 80% of my income. And yeah. And I went out full time as an author and professional development trainer, keynote speaker, and I kept my coaching business going. So it's been 10 years. I haven't looked back. And let's just say I've learned a few things along the way. So 30 years as having my own business, 10 years in this business of coaching and information and education as a teacher, speaker, and coach.
Yeah, I love that. And so here you are, you're talking about this energy that's inside of you. You want to see the better version of women and being themselves. What got you to this place? Because everybody doesn't necessarily want that. Why do you want it so bad for women?
Yeah. You know, so August, one of the things I teach is for people to connect deeply with their personal purpose and mission. And I guide people to know how to do that. And so for me, the reason, like, I had to do this, I had my personal mission statement driving me, but I wouldn't tell anybody about it for about 10 years. And it was, you know, it literally was going to kill me if I didn't start living it, like authentically living it. So my mission is I'm a torchbearer for a vision of a world transformed, illuminating freedom, fulfillment, and passion, igniting the flame of infinite possibility for the human spirit.
Beautiful.
Right? So that's not just what I do, it's who I am. And if I can bring that infinite possibility, the flame of infinite possibility for the human spirit, to my son's soccer team, to the teachers at his school, to my clients on the calls, to you, to your listeners, to my church, if I can just bring that being everywhere, then I know I'm fulfilling my mission in life. And, you know, my mission is to see other people empowered and living their mission. So the more I can do that. So for me, why did I do it? You know, honestly, I had to. I'd been writing in my journal, and there was just this thing that wanted to be birthed through me on a bigger level than just one-on-one, hour to hour. And I finally, you know, I gave myself over to it and haven't looked back even once. It's been wonderful. When it wasn't killing me, it was wonderful.
Okay, we're going to come back to that statement. When you say when it wasn't killing you, but
because it wasn't easy, you know.
No, but the thing about it is that, you know, it isn't all going to be easy, and it's amazing to me how sometimes we decide that something just should be easy, but
I think that's crap. You know, if it's important, like giving birth, you know, it's like that's important, and it's not easy. So I think there's a metaphor in that for anything that wants to be birthed through you in life. There's a gestation, there's the labor, there's the pain, you know, and then there's the beauty and the miracle. And that's exactly what I think the gestation of any birthing in life is.
And and just sticking to that whole analogy with the metaphor of birth, with every child, with every contraction, it literally disappeared as soon as that final push, that baby being placed in your arm. And so wanting to go through the process to push through the changes so that you can get the reward on the end just makes everything else just fade away. It's just, it was just, I went through something, and in embodying that and believing that is a beautiful thing. But I love the part where you said, this is me, this is my life, and this is who I am. And what I kind of, we line up in the same thought process, because for me, when I look at a lot of women, some of them are deciding to be entrepreneurs, and it's more like a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I can't stand my job. I've been here for this long, and I got this ability, and I could do something. So I'm going to start my own business so I can start making my own money. But when you really believe in what you're called to do, and you decide to jump into your entrepreneurial endeavor, like you said, you were going to be sick to your stomach. You weren't going to feel right if you were not doing what you were called to do, if you didn't operate in the reason why you were placed on the planet. Me and some young ladies are participating in what's called a 28-day Y challenge. And I did a video where I was saying that my passion was so strong for me to be a coach that even after almost a year of not even knowing what I was doing with penetrating the online market arena, I sat in front of my husband and I said, I'm a coach. I know that I'm a coach. And I'm so determined to be a coach, I'm going to get me a client. And if nobody's ready to pay me right now, I'm going to go find a client who, when I look at her, I believe that she's worthy of me coaching her for free. And I went to someone and I was like, hey, I already, unless you tell me otherwise, economically, you're not in a place to afford coaching, but I see potential inside of you and I want to be your coach. I had her sign a contract. And I told her, the reason why you're going through the formalities is because I want you to show up like a paying client, because I'm going to show up and I'm going to coach you like you're paying me. But that's because I embodied the essence of it. And when you need to market, when you need to write copy, when you need to go live and do your videos, when you're engaging with people at networking events, you have to understand you're the unique identifying factor in your business, because everybody's a real estate agent. Everybody's a business coach, a personal development coach, a transformational healer. And after a while, the jargon, that's all you have. And so embodying what you believe in is a game changer for the woman in business. And then that says that I can just be so free being who I am, so that I can attract all of these other people who need to look at this reflection through me in order for them to be able to embody and do that same thing. And so, that's all of what was just going through my brain as you were speaking. And I love that. But you said when it wasn't killing you, it wasn't always easy. Let's talk about some of the challenges that you went through with establishing your business. And I don't want to ask too many questions at one time, but I also want to know, what was it in you that wouldn't let your voice tell the people that were around you what your personal mission statement was?
Boy, those are a lot of really good questions. I think because I was embarrassed, and this is one of the ways I teach mission statement. If your mission statement doesn't make you feel a little bit like, can I really say that in public? You don't have the right one. It's got to be bigger than you know yourself to be, because, again, in my belief system, the universe, God, spirit is always going to call you into a higher, bigger existence than your limited ego mind ever will.
Yes.
So when I first came upon it, it was like, who are you to be thinking that? And I had that sense of smallness, that sense of littleness, and it wouldn't let go of me. And I'm grateful. I'm really, really grateful for that. And I'm grateful that somehow I found the courage and that my spouse was supportive and, I was able to make that change. So that's your answer to the first part. There was just that smallness inside of me that we all have. And when you're serving the smallness, you will keep your life the same. When you're serving your greatness, you will take incredible risks and step into the unknown, with fear and trembling. But if your faith is this much bigger than your fear, you'll be able to do it and you will succeed,
Absolutely.
So, So that's the answer to the why I didn't tell anybody for 10 years. You know, I let it kind of fester inside of me. And now I feel like I'm so passionate. One of my missions is to make sure people don't suffer those 10 years of, you know, get your mission and go live your mission.
Exactly.
It's so incredibly powerful. But, you know, and I don't recommend that people just get fed up with their job and think they're going to go start a business, because it's just not that easy.
No.
So what was hard about it? What were the setbacks? So let me back up a little bit. As a therapist, when I started my therapy practice, I'm fluent in American Sign Language.
Okay.
So right? So I had this service, this niche, this specialty that very few therapists have. I'm very fluent in sign language. So I had a network. I was known in the deaf community. And so I had insurance companies calling me and asking me to serve their customers rather than the other way around. So that really built my business. And I don't even feel like I ever ran a business. It was like a high paid hobby that I really enjoyed and helped a lot of people. And it was really lovely. So, then fast forward, I go through these 10 years of having this mission and wanting to do this other thing. And then I finally get the courage to do it. I had no idea. I didn't have the slightest clue what it took to build and create a business. I had no clue. I never had a website. I never spent a dime in marketing. I didn't know a thing about marketing. And I'd had a really successful business as a psychotherapist. Because if you stay in the same place long enough and you don't suck at what you do, you're going to be successful as a therapist. And I had this subspecialty. So anyway, that's what was hard about it. I had no idea. So I started out, kind of with this vision of like, I'm going to be a teacher. And I did, I've been teaching several of my programs since the very beginning, but I just couldn't get the traction and the leverage that I wanted. And I took all the lessons with that, the lessons of have a plan, but don't get too committed to it.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to accept where you are in the process, enjoy each moment of it without judging yourself, without comparing yourself, all of these lessons. I'm so to the other side of it. I'm so grateful for the work that I do. I've, written 3 books, about a dozen curriculums. I've got chapters in other people's anthology books, and I've spoken all around the US and Canada. And I can't tell you, August, I get emails and calls and Facebook messages every day from people. I got one today, just, on my way into Dunkin' Donuts to get a coffee. Somebody called me like, Jackie, I really miss you. And I just can't thank you for what you've done in my life. And yeah, right. Like, it's so meaningful to me to be able to fulfill my mission of touching other people's lives and setting them off on a course of fulfilling their mission.
No,
did I answer all your questions?
Well, we're going to go back a little bit to the trial in the midst of you developing your business, but I do want to make sure that I insert that teachable moment for the listeners. You had some unique identifying factors, some unique variables in the progression of your business initially. And I talk about this on a consistent basis. Your testimonials are very powerful. And of course, as a business coach, I teach people that you should get testimonials. And then if you can get a video testimonial, then that exponentially changes the level of the impact for people for as far as establishing credibility. But at the same time, you don't want to internalize somebody else's testimonial for what's possible for you, because sometimes other coaches out here who unfortunately don't operate with the same level of integrity are really pushing the testimonial, but they're not really pushing knowing you and your business. And you had a very well-defined niche. You had already tapped into an arena. But a lot of these women, like you said, is like, I just can't take this anymore. And I'm going to leave this job, and who cares? I'll collect unemployment, or I'll tap into my 401k, or I'll do whatever it is I want to do. And I'm going to start this business. And then I'm going to go work with this coach who worked with this person over here who sold, $50,000 worth of product in 2 weeks or in one weekend event, not realizing that there were a set of variables where they had more exposure, where they had stronger relationships. And that was part of what built them up along the way. I think that unfortunately what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs, as a matter of fact, I know what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs on their road to progression is when they look at what looks like overnight success stories, that they don't
Right.
really
Yeah.
realize that there was a foundation that was
It was
being
10
laid,
years. Yeah. Yeah.
whether it was intentional or not.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I know a woman who left the nonprofit industry after she worked in that
Hmm.
industry for 20 years and decided to start her own thing, and her business blew up to multiple six figures in the first year. I know another woman who had a nonprofit idea, and it took 3 years for her to finally get into black.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there was a lot of lead work and a lot of writing and a lot of
Yeah.
elbows, and it was a lot of handshaking and how you doing going on. And so everybody's story is going to be different. And
Yeah.
that's what I gathered from you. You're very transparent about saying, here are some things that were in my path that made this first business easier. But then this second portion of your business, I want to make sure that I kind of heard this correctly. When you transition into the coaching aspect, because you didn't do the marketing and all of that stuff for the first one, going and coming into the second business, it was like, ooh, there's so much I don't understand about penetrating the marketplace over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. No, there was so much I didn't know.
and so for you, what were some of the lows that you had to deal with? Because here it is, you shut off this business, you're going to start this other business. You didn't really
Yeah.
have the knowledge, the know. You had the wherewithal within because you're still here, but there were a lot of
Yeah.
things that you didn't know. So what were some of those pitfalls that you had to deal with because of your not knowing?
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how much I really hated doing sales, and I just didn't, I just never took to it. So the pitfalls, my income went from, I don't know, 160, $150,000 a year down to about $30,000 a year in the first year. I still had some coaching clients, so I was doing that. And then I've built it up. I'm really grateful to where I am now financially. But that dive in my income, and like, oh, I had no idea that was going to happen.
Wow.
Just the how much I hated doing sales. After about a year and a half, I ended up getting, honestly, I was clinically depressed. I went back on medication. I lost my sense of confidence in what I felt about my vision. I knew I was still on the right track. And it was so funny. When I hit that moment of surrender, like, oh my God, I can't do this any longer. I hate sales. I didn't know this was going to be a part of it. And I was literally sitting in the Barca Lounger at my Uncle Mike's farm out in Tennessee,
Wow.
and just said this prayer, like, I'm just, what am I going to do? Get a job? And I just kind of surrendered. I just let go. I was like, okay, whatever. If I got to get a job, I got to get a job. And within like 6 weeks of that moment, I got my first publishing contract for my first book. And I got a contract doing professional development training in the mental health field, actually, although teaching my curriculums that I developed as an empowerment coach, just doing it for training and development purposes, little different delivery. And that contract led me to, I don't know, probably $200,000 worth of business over the next year and a half of doing training and development work. It was extraordinary. And I remember that day like it was yesterday, of me saying, like, I surrender, basically, like, God, do with me what you will. So I do think there's something really powerful about recognizing that, how do you say it, like gutting it out, being attached, letting your ego drive the train rather than staying with the energy of your mission and purpose, and letting that be what guides you. So funny, what I was teaching was about faith and trust and empowerment and following your vision. But then I got all in this, like, I'm not making any money. And I went right back into that fear place. When you're in that energy, and that it's what I call, I'm sure you've heard it, repellent energy. When you're attached and when you're holding on, the energy of fear is so repellent. So when I just let that go, it's like whoosh, I had such a great run. It was so much fun. And honestly, I haven't looked back. I'm still, literally, August, I am still getting gigs from that one contract. I just got hired to do a gig in Massachusetts in December from someone who saw me at that first gig in the contract. So it's still, if you will, paying its dividends.
Yes.
It's just, and also just this week, I just signed a new client, a new coaching client who read that first book. She read
Wow.
that, came on that book, looked me up on the internet, was so moved by the work in it, and then became a client of mine. So, you know, there's so many lessons in that, right? Of being clear on who you are, but then not letting go of that. You know, what I let go of was the truth of what I teach, that the energy of life will get created around you when you move forward with that sense of clarity of purpose, clarity of mission, open-hearted, and looking to give and create. And when my income dropped, my ego took over. I got scared, and my ego took over. I got depressed. I was anxious. I was driven, you know, that sense of drivenness, and it was repellent energy. That Christmas time at my Uncle Mike's farm, and I just, I can't do this any longer. I gave up. I surrendered. Literally in January, first week of January, got the contract, got the other contract, everything turned around. It was extraordinary. And oh, by the way, I was on medication for depression, and I was on medication for attention deficit disorder. I'm not on any medications. I haven't been for almost, 7 years now, probably, maybe longer. Anyway, long time. And I say I'm the happiest, most productive person that I know. And it is literally out of the truth of these principles about understanding to manage your energy, declare your mission and purpose, and follow that with an energy of surrender, faith, and acceptance, rather than drivenness, ego, and anxiety that will have your path unfold.
I love this. And number one, let me just thank you for being in front of such a new and fresh audience and just willing to be so transparent, because that is one of the primary values that my brand is about, is transparency for the opportunity for people to grow. I always do this, you know, for the listeners. What are you taking away from everything that she said? You know, here it is. I don't know where you are while you're listening right now, but after so many levels of success, so many years of success, I find it to always be so amazing how just a singular thing could happen in our lives. And it's as if automatically that becomes the redefining thing. You could launch programs and have a lot of people sign up for them. And then you have this one super duper huge big thing that you want to do that you just know is going to work. And it's a flop. And then it's just like, oh my God, you know, I'm not doing this. And look at me, I stuck and I've ruined everything. And look at me, I've lost all this money. And it's amazing how people will do that naturally to themselves, cling to that little moment of negativity instead of embodying all of the great and wonderful things that have occurred. And one of the things I do with my clients all the time is I tell them, celebrate everything. If you're new, and you got one client, I know you want to close the whole house. I know there were 10 people in the room and you wanted 100% conversion, but you got one. But there was a season in your life when you were working for someone else, or you tried to do something, you know, and you didn't get this. So what pleasurable, joyful things can you hold on to and have appreciation for? That's one thing. But the other thing is that wherever you are, ladies, I don't want you to think that you're crazy because you've had a setback. And especially with your situation, Jackie, you had a setback that comes with a lot of stigmatisms. Oh, really? Yeah. So you're counseling people? You're going to help other people. You're going to help other people get through their shit. Right. But you're so jacked up. You know, you've got to take medicine. And I tell people all the time, you know, to me personally, and this is because of where my faith resides and how I believe and I operate, when that thing that you're doing attacks you the most, that's when you're getting pre-qualified to a degree that you don't realize. It's like a person that's a marriage coach. Right before you end up hitting that spot where your business just explodes, you and your husband are probably going to be one step away from divorce. It's this irony. It's like, what in the hell happened? Who are you? Who did I marry? Everything's going crazy. And if you're not on your A game, you'll do one of these things. I can't coach anybody. You know, why me? You know, I'm not going to go and tell these people their marriages are going to be okay. And I hate my husband. I want to divorce him. But what's actually going on is that, you know, the universe, God knows that you're going to be able to embody that. You're going to be able to take all of that, and internalize it and let that pressure redefine it, you're going to come out shining like a diamond. But it's what's going to allow you to be sensitive, compassionate, and love on the people when you're working with them through their marriages to tell them what's possible. It's not torture. It's not punishment. It's not necessarily because of something that you did wrong. You don't have to beat yourself up. I tell people all the time, if I'm empowering people to the degree that I am to say that you can do this no matter what, then you don't want to know the shit that's went through my brain.
Yeah.
That I've had to process and say, no, I can do this. And so, yeah, who cares? At one season, you were clinically depressed. At one season, you were on medication. Ladies, what's your challenge? What are you dealing with? Don't allow that to disqualify you. The challenges that you've dealt with from your past, those are your pre-qualifying moments. They're the things that will allow you to be labeled as victorious and glorious. And for somebody to say, you came through that, that's why I can trust you to help me with what I'm going through. And so, ooh, you got me a tad bit emotional, but like literally, but thank you for sharing that. And so here's my other question for you. And I hear the spirit. I know the spirit. I felt it when I initially talked to you. You had that conversation with God and you were like, I'm throwing in towel, I got to get back to the basics of why you created me. But for a second before you hit that moment, before you had that epiphany and you surrendered, how was your spirit impacted? What was your relationship looking like with God up until that point before you finally let go?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a mess. I was a train wreck. I remember I called up my minister, who was also a good friend of mine, and I was just like, I was the board president at my church at the time. And I was like, do you really want a board president that's like a spiritual train wreck? That's having, what did I call it? Like a breakup with God or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. So, and I think that was part of it, August, because my spiritual practices, and for me, I say my spiritual practice is my life well lived, make my life a living prayer is one of the things I like to say about my life. And what that means for me is I'm clear on my purpose and I'm living my values and I'm living in the highest level of what I call energetic consciousness, highest level of love and compassion and patience and joy and peacefulness. And like, I just live that way. When I'm living that way, that's my spiritual walk. But I also, pray and meditate and journal and all these things. The more I went down into fear, what happened to those spiritual practices, right?
Crash.
They're gone, right? So, and then it's a negative cycle. Right. So the more I go down, the more the spiritual practices go out, the more the spiritual practices go out, the more I go down, the more practices. So, yeah, I was basically a train wreck. I mean, just not to, I don't know, whatever, not to do anything. But I also went into a relapse around addictive behavior. And so it was just ugly. So I was back in 12-step programs 3 times a week, meeting with my sponsor once a week, going to psychotherapy once a week. I was in couples therapy once a week. I was doing so much restorative work on my heart, my mind, and my soul that, it was hard to have much time for anything else. I also had a young child and was running a full-time business and, house to take care of. So it was ugly. It was just ugly for a while. How it impacted my soul, my spirit, is I was crushed, quite honestly. I remember sitting on the couch with my spouse and just crying and saying, like, I know what to do to get better, but I'm not well enough to do it. And that was just the truth in that moment. And I guess if I'm nothing, if I'm not a hard worker. And there was some point that I was just like, this is just bullshit. I know better. I coach people. I teach people. I have helped hundreds of people recover from addiction, from depression, from attention deficit. This is bullshit. I'm not going to live this way. Plus, I almost lost everything. My spouse isn't going to sit around like, oh yeah, let's just have our whole lives go down the drain. So I had to choose. And I chose to surrender, and I chose to get in and go back to my recovery and go back to therapy and just do all of those things that I had to do. And then I'll tell you, August, creating one of my curriculums, it's called the Life Design Course. So 2 of my curriculums, I say my program called Calming the Chaos is what got me off my ADD meds.
I love it.
So Calming the Chaos got me off my ADD meds. And then my Life Design Course got me off my antidepressants. Now, look, I'm not telling anybody to get off their meds. Keep those bad boys. I loved them. They certainly helped me function.
Right.
And, test and prove, says the Lord. I wanted to test and prove that mind-body principle could be my medicine, that faith could be my restorer, that action would be my elixir. And so I put my faith and my action and I put that forward. And I don't know, it wasn't overnight, girlfriend, by any means. It was, I honestly don't remember, 6, 8, 9 months. And then I started to wean myself off the medications, and I haven't looked back. That's all I can say. In fact, my primary care physician became one of my clients.
Wow, that's amazing.
The person who was prescribing me the medication became one of my clients, because I would go in and I'd talk to her and I'd tell her these things, and I'd show her my curriculum. She ended up taking all my courses, graduating from all of my curriculums, because she's like, I'm in awe of what you have done.
Yes. Wow.
Isn't that sweet?
That is, all of that's amazing. And it's such a powerful twist. There's so many lessons that are embodied in your conversation. And I love this, but the thing that I want to say more than anything else is, ladies, you have a right to choose.
Yeah.
You have a right to choose. Where are you right now listening to this podcast? Are you a little low? Are you really, really low? Or are you lower than low?
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference. I don't like for people to operate out of a spirit of condemnation. I love them to remain in a position of conviction, where they're like, hey, who am I? Am I walking in my truth? Am I being my authentic self? Instead of saying, look at me, I'm not walking in my truth. I'm not being my authentic self, so I don't deserve. No, just take that moment, look in the mirror, look at the image that you're beholding, and see if it's a reflection of what you were really, truly created to be. Because the key thing that I hear you saying is that even though you kept going downhill, you lose the religious practice, or you're losing a piece of yourself. You just kept on digressing. But at the moment that your mind and your heart, your spirit made a decision, that you also said that you coupled actions with your faith. Not that you turned everything around overnight, but I always talk to people. I say, what do you want? And there's this saying that I have, and it's that what you say and what you do don't line up, you're full of shit. Ladies, what do you want? What are you doing? Not the outcome, because you talked earlier about this whole thing about being attached. You were attached to an outcome. You were attached to a way that you believed that the script was supposed to play out. Instead of embodying and enjoying the transition, you're like, well, if it's not happening this way, then I just don't like this. And it's like, no. And I want you ladies that are listening to just really focus on what you want. Make sure that what you're doing lines up with your expectation. And then in due season, you're going to receive your just reward, because there is no such thing as anything overnight. We don't walk overnight. We can't chew solid food overnight. We don't learn how to read overnight. We don't learn how to take and calculate problems in calculus overnight. Everything is built off of foundational components. We don't learn how to love and be productive in marriage overnight. We don't learn how to parent overnight. You have more than one kid, you're going to realize that with each kid, I have 4, and I didn't learn how to parent with each one of them overnight. It's all about the natural progression, natural progression of growth, and celebrating those things. And look at that. Look at how you turned it around. A lot of you all don't even see yourself in the future. And the people that are around you that you feel like you're beneath, you may be their peer. Or you, in another facet of life, you may be the one that needs to be their leader. That's amazing that your physician actually ended up coming to work with you. And I'll just add this in here. I always like to ask the question, who's smarter? The brain surgeon, or the corporate attorney? And the answer is neither. They're just both very intelligent in their respective fields. Right. And when we embody that mindset of we're all great, then it's no longer the big I's and the little U's. It's like, I have something that I can give to you, and you have something that you can give to me. we're kind of winding down. This has been a really, really powerful segment, and I'm sure that people got a lot from you. And I may even have to kind of do a twist compared to what we originally said that this was going to be about. Even though that spirit is still in this podcast episode, people are like, "What was she talking about?" But talk to me a little bit, because none of us get where we are by ourselves. You mentioned that your spouse was very supportive. As you went through this transition to come up, what did your circle look like? What was your sphere of influence? What helped you stay grounded beyond we know that you're a spiritual woman, your spiritual practices and your curriculum and God, but what about people?
Yeah. I mentioned a little bit about my minister. So I was the board president at my church. So I was very involved with my church. So my spiritual community. And for me, that was the Unity Church movement, not Unitarian, not UU, the Unity Church movement. People always confuse that. So I was heavily involved there. I had lots of just friends. My minister and I were best friends. We still are. I love her dearly. At 12 steps, if you are arrogant enough to think you don't have an addiction, think about your addiction to your ego, your addiction to being right. Right. I wrote a blog post on the Good Men Project blog about that. The one addiction you didn't know you have. Anyway, so everybody's got some kind of an addiction. Mine was, a little bit more intense than just my addiction to my ego, but 12-step meetings, 12-step programs, the 12-step philosophy, that we have something in our lives that we're powerless over, and that seeking spiritual fulfillment is our path to overcoming that thing. That's pretty much the 12-step movement. So we all have something that we are powerless over. It's usually our ego, our opinions, our need to be right, our need to make a point, right? So whatever, that's in a whole other teaching. But the 12-step movement, and in fact, I do say that I have recovered from my addictions. I depart a little bit from 12-step. Because my I am statement is the most powerful thing I have. So I say I am recovered. I am not just I'm in recovery. I am recovered. Right. I am whole. I'm healed. So that was a big part of it. My marriage was a huge part of it. Therapy was helpful at that time when I was really kind of beaten down. I think if people are healthy and well, I would get a coach, not a therapist. But if you're in that place where you're like, look, I know I should be doing this, I should be doing that, but I just am not well enough to do it. Put yourself in a therapist's office. So 12-step therapy, spiritual community, and a really solid marriage with a wonderful, wonderful spouse who was willing to go through the fire with me. And, I can't tell you how grateful I am, August, to be living the life that I'm living. I've got more money, more free time, a more fulfilling career, an amazing marriage. And I still need to grow. Here's what my growing edge right now is. I'm just not being patient enough with my teenage son. So I just, even though I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm all enlightened and all that, I've got an amazing life and I've come through the fire more times than I care to count. And I still got a growing edge. I need to be more loving, more patient, more understanding of his soul and his evolution. And I'm committing myself to that, here with you and your listeners. And just to say that we all have this continued growth, until you fill that bathtub and you go walk across it, then there's more for you to do.
Absolutely. No, great. Awesome. Whew. This is one of those interviews. I love it. I have some interviews that once it's over with, I literally got to just sit down for a second and I got to let whatever else I'm feeling, go ahead and process and do what it's going to do. There's something about certain episodes. All of my guests have been powerful.
Sure, I bet. They're amazing.
But there's several episodes where there's something that's really highly triggered in my spirit as the episode is being produced, because I can perceive in the future, and whether that's the Friday that this goes out, or it's that day that somebody listens to this is one of those segments that's going to be a game changer, the deal maker versus the deal breaker for people that chime into it. And you said something that was very key. And as a business coach, part of my contracts say that you are well and you're whole in your mind in order for me to be able to serve you, because none of the things that I do fall under the scope of therapy. And like you said, there are certain things, some of you, you know what, just take your time. Don't move too quick. Her disclaimer, even though she did all of those beautiful things, she's not telling anybody on this show to just immediately say you're zenned out, woo, and throw your medicine away. She's saying to take your time. Where are you honestly? Because I know there's some of you, and there's a few of you who still listen to this podcast where we've had one-to-one conversations, and I told you that I am not in a position to help you because of where you are mentally and the kind of help that you need. And so for those of you that have been listening to Jackie and you feel your spirit being pulled, you feel that tug, you're listening, you're sitting, you're crying, you're feeling some kind of way, you reach out to her. Reach out, get the help, period. And at the top of this year, or was it mid-year, we've had so many people that have committed suicide that had the money, the fame, and those things. That doesn't have to be anybody that's listening to this podcast right now. You're having the opportunity to get the help from someone who can genuinely resonate with who you are, because she's going to be empathetic and sympathetic because she's been there. And so I really, really just want to emphasize to all of the listeners, she's about to tell you in a second, but connect with her, connect with her, because the help is abundant. It's always there. You guys have got to choose you. Not even choosing your purpose, not even Mrs. Go out there and live your passion. August, be raw, real, and relentless about your dreams. We give our best when we're at our best. Yeah. What can you do to get your mind, your heart, your body, your soul, your spirit back on fire again? Jackie, you've amazed me. I didn't expect anything less than that. Talk to the people, give them, a kind of an overview, even the more about what you have for them and where they can connect with you at, because I truly believe in my heart that this hit somebody to the capacity that they're like, I need to reach out to her.
Yeah, thank you, August. So let me say a couple of things. If your issue is, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, if you're always saying that, if you're one of those people, go to this website, calmingthechaos-book.com, calmingthechaos-book.com. You can get the book for free, Calming the Chaos book for free. Just send it to you for the cost of shipping. And then it's a powerful book. It's going to show you that time is not the issue, that it's how you relate to time that's the issue. Mm-hmm. And when you change that relationship with time, your life will change. So that's number one. If your issue is money, do this. Go to the website moneyvibemethod.com. And on there's a couple things for free. One, you got to do this. You got to do this. It's so much fun. Sign up for the 30-day Money Vibe Challenge. It's free. Sign up for the 30-day Money Vibe Challenge and do the actions that you'll get in your email for 30 days every day. There's an action, an affirmation, and an intention, because the problem isn't money. The problem is your relationship with money. The problem is your beliefs about money. And that's 30-day challenge is going to help you see that and alter it and right-side it. 30-day challenge, moneyvibemethod.com. There's also a free 30-minute webinar that's going to show you how to alter your money vibe, alter your money vibe, to elevate it, to raise it up. So that's all stuff for free. Let me see. And you can email me. My other website is jackiewoodside.com. Easy to find. You can Google me. And then, last thing, God, I love this. If the thing is like, God, I just want to know my mission, my purpose like you do, that was powerful. thelifedesigncourse.com, thelifedesigncourse.com. That's my other just signature program and signature work. I've got coaches all around the country who are life design coaches. And if that calls to you to be a life design coach and do this process that I've talked about today, it's I think it's the most powerful thing. August, you and I got to talk about that a little bit more. Not for you to be a life design coach, but I know you've got something to help me, because this is my legacy work, right? Just showing people that you can live your life from the inside out, live your life by design. We should talk a little bit more about that. Anyway, so if time is your issue, if money is your issue, or if life itself is your issue, basically, that's what I want to talk to you about. And I'm here to help, really. Don't feel like, I can't reach out to her. No, just Jackie at jackiewoodside.com. Just email me. And let's talk, because life is beautiful and magical, and life will always give you what you need to grow to the next level.
Absolutely. And one last question. What is your social media platform, the one you prefer for people to reach out? Facebook, LinkedIn?
I'm on all of them. So Facebook is facebook.com/Jackie Woodside Speaker.
Okay.
You can find me there, or you can just search Jackie Woodside. And then I love this, you know it, August, the Vibe Tribe.
Yes.
So that's, I think, facebook.com/groups/Vibe Tribers. Definitely hang out there. It's just a high vibe, supportive, loving. I ask a question pretty much every day. Today's question is, how are you using your gifts to serve the world today? And August, I'm here with you, so grateful that you are using your gifts to serve the world. And I'm honored, really, to be your friend and your partner in that. And I look forward to what we're going to continue to do together.
Thank you. Ladies, give us some feedback, okay? Come to the website or either on the platform of your choice. You have questions, you have comments. We want to know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. How did this particular episode impact you? She was so willing to share. Awesome, super duper amazing. In the meantime, in between time, enjoy the rest of your day and get ready for some hard-hitting podcasts coming back to you next week. Ladies, embody it, embody it, embody it. What you're thinking and what you're saying, they have to line up. And if you're having an issue getting there, holler at Jackie so that you can get on point. We're out of here. Bye.
Peace out.
Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher, unlock the fire.